Item number 1, call the meeting to order at 2:01. Item number 2 is an HR update, recruitment, and end of the year reporting. Brian?
Thank you. Recruitment. We are in the final stages of the financial support specialist in the finance department. Wrapped up those interviews, and we'll be making a decision on second interviews or putting an offer out here in the next couple of weeks. So should have that taken care of. Police chief is still in the interviewing and selection process, and other than that, crossing guards are always at a premium. So if anybody knows of anybody interested in helping out as a crossing guard, please contact HR or the police department. HR department will be busy over the next couple of weeks with end of year reporting. That includes our 1095s for health insurance reporting purposes. Open enrollment is, as I talked about the last previous couple of meetings, as we had wrapped that up through the end of November. We've now in the process of inputting everything into the system so that all changes, edits, or additions or deletions have been made to anybody's health plan as they so elected, along with their HSA contributions or changes that they wanted to make throughout the course of the year. So our department is busy getting all of that into the system and make sure we have our data ready to report by the specified deadlines at the first part of January of 23. Just like to thank Jill and Sarah for the job they do up there. They really make everything go up there. They do a lot of heavy lifting, and they're much appreciated up there in the HR department. So that's all I have. Lastly, we are finishing up the final stages of putting the wage study together, the plan together. We missed our ability to connect with our consultant prior to this HR meeting, so we'll be circling back with them hopefully later this week or the beginning of next week to put the final plans of that together, along with rewriting the policies. The policies started to grow into more than just rewriting or touching one policy. There's approximately 5 to 7 policies that are affected. So yeah, once out of the 277 pages we have in policy and procedures, 5 to 7 of those need to be touched. So we've kind of got to take those apart and put them back together to have the complete package. So
Did you
look for that in January.
Yeah, and I guess further on the wage study, I know there's a lot of concern because it's been going on and taking a while, and I guess my concern is, and I'll speak for myself, is that I want to make sure that when this is done, it's not, a lot of questions or, because we've heard about negative impacts on other communities that these wage studies can cost. And I think it's important that, like Ryan pointed out, we can make sure the policies are up to date and everything's done correctly. Aside from the issues we had, I think we're on our 5th now consultant at the end here, and so 5th person within the organization, which did not help because every person that came on didn't understand what the previous person did. So, it gave me concerns about the legitimacy of it, and talking to Deb Poggle, who was a previous HR person that we had here prior to Ryan, that was a consultant, her expertise was wage studies, and she's done Clark counties and other communities. And so, once she kind of reviewed and looked at that and she agreed with it, which legitimized the end product. Now is trying to finalize the policies and those type of things.
Right.
So there's been a lot going on with this, and we just didn't want to rush something and throw it out there, and then you end up having a bigger mess at the end. Let's do it right, even if it takes more time.
Questions? Patrick or Tom? I just have one question for you, Ryan. The fire department update on their 3 employees.
Thank you. Back to that in the recruitment phase. Thank you. They'll be conducting interviews next week.
And 2 applications
not sure how many are set up to interview. I just know we have interviews scheduled
Refresh
for
my
next
memory,
week.
what's that for?
I think we approved the
3.
addition of 3 firefighters.
Oh, that, okay.
Yeah.
And then 3 additional ones after,
Yep.
assuming we get the
That's what
grant.
I was looking, there's something else, yep.
Oh.
Yeah, but I don't recall how many there are. I know there are some next week, so
Yep.
looking forward to that, getting that wrapped up.
Anything else? All right. Item number 3, discuss and consider for approval proposed changes to the clothing shoe allowance policy. See the attachment.
Yeah, so what I just handed out is the most recent, and actually, you know, really thanks to Paul and the mayor on this, something they had talked through previously, so they caught it, and I appreciate that. This is a policy that I believe maybe had last updates of 2012. So we've taken the time to readjust boot allowances. So the changes you'll see, and I apologize for the lack of color, but the darker gray is changes or additions. You can see the lined out versions will be a deletion to the current policy. The probably the biggest item to note here is it would be under the policy section, 1, 2, 3, the third main paragraph. City will provide to all DPW and engineering techs, looking to increase that dollar amount from $175 to $225 annually. Again, just to keep up with the cost of materials and prices, just for everything. So boots obviously are more expensive. We've we've adjusted some of the titles that were no longer current and up to date. We've updated those, especially on page 2. I believe it was referring to fire captains. We don't have those. They are now battalion chiefs, assistant city engineer, design engineer, and division chief of fire and EMS. So basically just looking to update it, but again, I think the main item to note is increasing the boot allowance for boot and clothing allowance from $175 to $225, and then on the second page, in those following classifications, just for boot allowances, according to OSHA and ANSI standard 75, moving from $100 to $150. That would be first whole paragraph on page 2. I guess at this time, Paul was nice enough to come along in case we had any questions, regarding, how this works or operates, or, why he saw fit. We had talked previous, but he said he'd be willing to come and entertain any questions, but. Any questions? Yeah.
What's a current allowance for like the city police?
So, I don't know that, but it was my understanding with this new contract that they increased it $50.
I think they're at what? 225?
So, yeah, I didn't bring my contract.
Let's just go online and look.
Sue, can you hear us?
Yeah, what are police and fire at, is that the question?
Yes.
Yes.
Gosh, let me see if I can find that quick.
Ooh, every contract.
Yeah, you have a contract for a few years, so you know that amount, and then you change it, and it's like, oh, which one is it? Is it this, or is it? And I should know better by now. I need to carry that contract with me at all times, because at least when I'm in the walls.
You don't have it in your pocket?
No.
You wanna add anything while we're waiting, Paul?
Like I said, just in the whole time that I've been here, which I think is 16 years, Ryan said that it was updated in 2012, but I think that's when the Public Works Union contract expired, so then it became a policy, and they just my understanding, took the contract language and made it into a department policy, but we have not received that increase in the time that I've been here. And again, it's my understanding that the police and fire went up the $50, and so that's when I had spoken with the mayor about including it in our budget as a $50 increase. And then we had a discussion whether it was gonna be a one-time increase, you know, and leave the policy where it is, you know, and just make a one-time increase, or if we should change the policy to reflect that or whatever, and so this is where we're at.
So it says, each officer will be provided at 175 in 2022, 200 in 2023, and 225 in 2024.
Okay.
But I, you know, especially, you know, with the street department, it's gone through the budgetary process, and, you know, and so you guys ultimately approved that in the budget to increase it by 50, so, you know, I think it's more than reasonable that, you know, it's been approved already, technically, in the budget, but I just think that, you know, next year boots aren't gonna become any cheaper, so it's just like, you know, we should change the policy at this point, because unfortunately, things aren't gonna get less costly.
So I guess the other thing is, besides boots, those guys will buy most of their outdoor winter clothing out of this too.
Yeah.
Their heavy jackets and bib overalls, and I think we provide gloves, rain jackets.
Yep, we provide PPEs and rain, like you said, they have to purchase their own Carhartt coats and insulated bibs and stuff like that, so.
I thought this was in the, I think it was in the budget, it was one of the line items. I remember reading something about it, but I couldn't remember if it was for the police or if it was
Yep.
because we've been doing that contract.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, you process a lot of information in a month's amount of time, so.
Yeah.
Anybody have anything else? I guess with that, I'll entertain a motion, or
I'll make a motion to approve.
there's a motion to approve the policy change for the clothing shoe allowance. Is there a second? There's a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you. What's that?
I said, whoever got the second.
Yeah.
You got the second.
Before adjournment, can I just say something?
Sure.
That's next, right?
It is.
Okay. Before we close, this will be our last meeting for 2022. As we look forward to 2023, I just want to make it known and thank everybody, you know, Chairman Bemke, Patrick, Tom. I enjoy working with this committee. You know, I learn something every month, and hopefully you all do as well. It's nice to get people from the audience to come to such exciting meetings. That's always great to have the crowd come for such things. But you know, thanks to the mayor and Paul.
She's wearing boots, so
Yeah.
she's okay.
But I feel like I've only been here just over 2.5 years, and you know, getting to know you all in a little bit more closer professional capacity. This is a pretty neat place, and I enjoy coming to work each and every day. So thanks to everybody that I get the opportunity to work with. So have a good holiday season, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year, and we'll see you in 2023 or next week at the council meeting.
Whatever comes
Let's hope
first. Thanks, Ryan. If there's nothing else, I would entertain.
So moved to adjourn.
Very good. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Meeting's adjourned at 2:50.